Unfortunately, I recently lost someone whom I love. Um, I became very good friends with over a long period of time. Actually, a family member, but friendship grew over time. And at the end of their life, there were two options that it seemed that people were giving to this person. It was one, continue to live and be in pain, or the second one was to basically die and be in no pain. And oftentimes we have these two options that people give us in life, whether that's in life, a life or death situation, or that's just a relationship situation. Be in misery with this person whom you love, or leave this person and have the freedom of not being with this person and maybe enjoy life. Um, it seems like life offers us a series of balances, and that's what we're going to talk about in this poem. My name is Carter. This is Carter Curricula, where I am on a mission to savor our shared humanity through the reading of poetry, through the breakdowns of poetry, especially poetry written by American poets who've died, right? Great American poets who've died. And we're in a series, in our 10th part of this series, where we're taking a look at Nikki Giovanni's poetry. If you've never read Giovanni's poetry, you should. Like, her poetry is spectacular, worth reading. Some of it's pretty offensive. Some of it is sort of biting. Some of it can throw you off. But others of it is just joyful and delightful and sometimes even in the biting of the poetry, like the poetry that really hits you, and you're like, what in the world was going on there? Sometimes that's the poetry that ends up being some of the best poetry. It's a series of balances. And that's exactly what we have here on this poem, which is balances. I'll read it through, provide some close reading for it, and then apply some of the lessons that we see in this poem for our lives so that we can live a full life, a life where we experience our full humanity. So I'll read it. Balances. Beautiful poem. In life, one is always balancing, like we juggle our mothers against our fathers or one teacher against another, only to balance our grade average. 3 grains salt to 1 ounce truth, our sweet black essence or the funky honkies down the street. And lately, I've begun wondering if you're trying to tell me something. We used to talk all night and do things alone together. I've begun as a reaction to a feeling to balance pleasure of loneliness against the pain of loving you. Oh man. As you can see, just first off, there are there's a phrase here where she talks about funky honkies down the street. That's what I mean. Some of it can sort of throw you off. Some of what she says can kind of be a little bit off-putting, but that's how she wrote, and I don't necessarily think she meant something too too negative about it, but it does strike. It can strike somebody and go, man, that's kind of I can't read that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and do a little breakdown. Let's analyze the poem. To left-hand side, you could see the analysis that I have. I'll circle it. This is our analysis there. So we're going to take a look at that analysis first. Lines 4 and 5, we see a simile, and we see the balance between mother and father. We see mothers and fathers, and then lines 9 and 10. Oh, excuse me, 6, 7, and 8, we see a balance against of teachers, one teacher against another. And line 9 and 10, 3 grains salt versus truth. So it's a metaphor, it looks like, where the salt is a lie and truth is there as a 1 ounce. And then we see another balance here between black and white, sweet essence of blacks, a funky honkies down the street. That's obviously the balance there, the sweetness versus the funkiness of a group of people, one black, one white. And then we see at the very end her making sense of all of that she's already said, balance, 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 balance. And now here's really what the gist of what I'm going to say is. And lately I've begun wondering if you're trying to tell me something, right? So apparently there is a relationship that's going on there, and and the person is trying to figure out what is it that you're trying to tell me. We used to talk all night. Oh, okay, now we see exactly what's going on. Um, we used to, it's a thing of the past. It's the past tense verb used here. Used to talk all night and do things alone together. And then now it says, I've begun. So now it's almost like the present perfect, where it took place in the past, or is it past perfect? Took place in the past and it continues on to the present. I think it's the past perfect. I've begun as a reaction to a feeling to balance, right? So it seems like now this person is coming into this realization that, there is going to be a situation where, there may be no you and no me together, right? The pleasure of loneliness, there we go. Or the pain of loving you, right there. So there's the balance there of loneliness against the pain of staying in love, staying in relationship, but things not going like they should or could, right? So again, there's the balance. Life here with the toughness, or death where you have peace. In relationship where we just are not getting along essentially, and there's pain in loving you, or being alone where there's pleasure and delight to be had there. Man, if there's anything that I can tell you from this poem, is that this poem with the theme shows that balance is present in every circumstance, right? So even if you're in a situation where you're totally loving something, there's there is also the opposite of that that's underlying it, or that could take place, right? So there is a natural balance in life. It's this or that, but life always tends to give you some sort of balance, right? Some opposites. Couple questions that I have for you that I'm asking you to put in the comments, an answer in the comments. Why is balance so hard to maintain? If balance is the nature of things, which is what it tends to be here, why is it so hard to maintain? Why is it so hard to be aware of the balance that exists in certain spots? So, for example, you have a job that you hate. Is it everything about that job that you hate? Maybe there's some individuals there that you might enjoy sharing some interaction with. Maybe there's a task or two on that job that you enjoy. Is there I mean, or do you hate everything, right? Is it really everything that you hate? There's balance there. And so why is it so hard for us to maintain some balance in situations where, it seems like the extreme is over here, but it's like, look, man, we can use a little bit of balance. And then also, the second question that I have for you to answer, and if you don't mind answering those in the comments, what area of life do you feel you need to observe some balance? I typo there. I put to, it should be do. What area of life do you feel that you can observe a little bit of balance in your life? I really appreciate Nikki Giovanni's poems. This is the 10th installment, this one being about balance. We've gone through a number of different texts. In fact, I do see some intertextuality taking place here, because there is a text that she wrote called, um, let's see here. I'm not lonely. And this text, if I'll link this um, to this video, in this text, I'm not lonely. We did an analysis of it. Looks like we are blurry. Or blurry is going to take place. It doesn't locate the eyeballs. So I'm not lonely was about a person who was in bed alone, and she just decided, the speaker decided, that I'm not going to feel all alone, even though you are not here. And again, we see balance there. Um, as you walk around your life, may you enjoy the balance that takes place in life. May it be something that you embrace as the human experience and not push away. May you be an individual who fully accepts and embraces the balance that life has to offer you. Well, our series is now over. I'll probably come back at some point and do a little bit of a recap, sort of an overview of the 10 poems that we had together in Nikki Giovanni. But I hope you enjoyed it. Next one coming, either Langston Hughes or Robert Frost. Also, I want to do a little bit of an analysis of some thinking categories that we can use in order to give us some pinky up reading, make our reading a little bit more in depth, and give us a little bit more understanding of our reading. So that's all I have for now. I'll see you in the next one.